Long before dinosaurs ruled the Earth, the planet belonged to another kind of creature. Creatures with armored bodies, unblinking eyes, and wings that shimmered like glass. This was a world of giants, not of flesh and bone, but of insects. Welcome to the Age of Insects. The story begins over 300 million years ago, during the Carboniferous period. Earth was a greenhouse. Vast tropical forests covered what are now North America and Europe. The air was thick and heavy with moisture, and oxygen levels reached over 35%. That's nearly twice what we breathe today. To most life forms, it was paradise. But to insects, it was a gift from the heavens. In this oxygen-rich world, insects could grow far beyond the limits we know today. Wingspans stretched wider than an eagle's, scorpions reached the size of cats, and the forest floor trembled beneath the weight of the largest arthropods to ever live. Among the rulers of this lost world, one creature dominated the skies, Meganeura, the dragonfly that time forgot. With wings stretching over 70 centimeters, it was larger than a hawk. A prehistoric predator, forged for aerial supremacy. Every part of its body was built for the hunt. Enormous compound eyes scanning the air for the faintest movement, delicate yet powerful wings beating in near silence, and jaws strong enough to crush almost anything smaller than itself. Scientists believe Meganeura hunted by ambush, hovering motionless among the towering ferns, waiting for an unsuspecting insect or amphibian to move. Then, with lightning speed, it would dart forward, snatching its prey midair with spiny legs, devouring it before it even hit the ground. Imagine looking up into the Carboniferous sky, and instead of birds, you'd see dragonflies the size of seagulls patrolling their domain. But its size wasn't just luck. Meganeura could only exist because the air itself was different, thick with oxygen, dense enough to keep its enormous wings aloft. In today's atmosphere, a creature that large simply couldn't fly. The air would feel too thin, the energy demands too high. During the Carboniferous, the atmosphere contained over 35% oxygen, enough to fuel a supersized metabolism. It allowed Meganeura to breathe and move with the same ease a sparrow does today. This wasn't just a big insect. It was the first true aerial apex predator in Earth's history, a master of the skies long before the first bird or bat even existed. When we think of giants, we imagine dinosaurs. But for over 50 million years before them, it was creatures like this that ruled the planet, silent, alien, and deadly. Meganeura wasn't just an insect. It was a symbol of a world that breathed heavier, moved slower, and felt truly otherworldly. While Meganeura ruled the skies above, another creature dominated the forests below. It crawled through the shadows, silent and unstoppable, a titan of the undergrowth. Its name was Arthropleura. Stretching up to 2.5 meters long, Arthropleura was the largest arthropod ever to walk the Earth. That's longer than a modern car and wider than your shoulders. Imagine standing in a prehistoric forest and seeing that enormous armored body glide past your legs. Hundreds of feet clicking in perfect rhythm across the forest floor. Despite its monstrous appearance, this giant wasn't a killer. Fossilized plant debris found in its gut suggests it was likely an herbivore, a gentle giant of its time, feeding on decaying plants, mosses, and ferns. Its many legs gave it both strength and stability, allowing it to push through dense vegetation and climb over fallen logs like an armored train. Each segment of Arthropleura's body was protected by overlapping plates, making it nearly invulnerable to the small amphibians and reptiles of the era. Few dared to challenge it. In a world where predators were still learning how to hunt, Arthropleura had nothing to fear. For millions of years, these colossal millipedes thrived across the vast tropical lowlands of what is now Europe and North America. They left behind giant trackways, fossilized trails that stretch for meters across ancient rock beds. These footprints are so detailed that you can count the rhythm of their steps, as if the creature just passed by yesterday. So, why were these insects so enormous? The answer lies in the way they breathe. Unlike us, insects don't have lungs. They rely on tiny tubes, called tracheae, that let oxygen diffuse directly into their bodies. More oxygen in the air means oxygen can travel deeper, allowing their bodies to grow bigger. Combine that with a lack of predators and lush vegetation, and evolution had no reason to hold back. For nearly 100 million years, they were Earth's undisputed rulers. But nothing lasts forever. As the Carboniferous period came to an end, the planet began to change. Massive volcanic activity reshaped the climate. Oxygen levels plummeted. The great swamp forests dried up, and with them, the insects' empire began to collapse. By the early Permian period, reptiles had taken over the land. The giants of the insect world faded into extinction, leaving behind only their fossilized wings and footprints. The age of insects was over. Today, insects are smaller, but far from powerless. There are more insects on Earth than any other kind of animal. They've adapted to every environment: deserts, oceans, even the frozen poles. So, could giant insects ever return? Probably not. With today's oxygen levels, their bodies couldn't support that kind of size. And predators, birds, reptiles, mammals, would never let them rule again. But in their time, they were unstoppable. The first kings and queens of Earth's land and sky. Their reign may be over, but their descendants still crawl, fly, and hum all around us. Thanks for watching. If you love exploring the lost world of prehistory, make sure to like, subscribe, and dive into the next video.